Where do I start? G'day Gooners. Hope you're all right. Yeah, it wasn't the best result. I mean, Carabao Cup Final, it wasn't even just a result, to be honest. It was the disappointing performance as well. If we went out there and lost 2-0 but played well, Man City were just better on the day, fair enough. But they were just all over us, to be honest. We did not deserve to win that game in any shape or form. Obviously, it was a 3:30 a.m. kickoff for us in the east coast of Australia. The worst kickoff time, and it made it even more grim by that result as well. Yeah, I mean, there's not much else we can do rather than just get straight into it. We need to bounce back from this, but the most frustrating part is obviously it's the international break. After this game, we're in the international break now. So, look, we have to move on, but it's so hard to, because we won't get to see the boys play for another, what is it, 2, 3 weeks. I think our next game is in the FA Cup against Southampton. So it's going to be a long wait, but we need to be positive. There's bigger and better things up ahead. Obviously, of course, I would have loved to have won the Carabao Cup as well. I've never seen Arsenal win it. It's been a long time since we've won it. I think in the early 90s. So to win that would have been a really momentum booster. But yeah, it wasn't to be. Obviously, it's just me here today. Unfortunately, George isn't able to join. He's in Sydney, busy doing some stuff. So yeah, but he did in fact send me a video of his quick rundown of the game. So I'll just pop that on the screen now.
Good day, Gooners. Sorry I can't be with you in Cal for the pod. I'm out in Sydney. Skies are very blue, which is fantastic, but out working, so I can't join you guys. My thoughts on the game were pretty simple. We really lacked creators on that pitch. When I saw the lineup and Eze not being in it, I was worried. I was worried because we struggle to create anyway. Usually how we create is from set pieces or from magical moments, just like Eze produced in the Champions League. But without him or Martin Odegaard, said that weird, Martin Odegaard, we don't look really the same team. When you look at Manchester City and who they had playing, obviously Ryan Cherki and Bernardo Silva in the middle with Rodri, it's different. It really is different, especially when you can bring on Phil Foden from the bench. We didn't really have that opportunity. Thought we played slow all game, to be honest with you. And to be honest, the tempo was not there all game. We were off it. We didn't really turn up. Manchester City were fair enough the winners. They played better on the day. Very, very disappointing, obviously, for them. Probably gives them quite a lot of momentum going into the rest of, obviously, the title race. For us, we need to bounce back. It's pretty simple. Get Martin Odegaard back on that pitch ASAP. Just gives us that rhythm, ability to thread needle passes through the lines, and that final pass that just wasn't there for us on the day. I thought Trossard and Saka were pretty absent. Unfortunately, Saka's not really looking like the same type of player that he has been prior to his hamstring injury, which is slightly worrying and concerning, especially me as an England fan as well. But Madueke, I thought when he came on, tried his best, beat his man 1v1 a few times, but we just couldn't put the ball away. Gyökeres, the less said, the better, I think. But regardless of the performance, we absolutely do need to bounce back. Obviously, we've got a lot to play for still in the Premier League, the Champions League, and obviously the FA Cup. We need to bounce back. We need to be better. We need to move the ball faster. We need to be more prolific in front of goal. We need to create more chances. And to be honest with you, I think our mentality needs to take a bit of a rain check. We need to really reset and go again. On the whole, well done to Manchester City. They absolutely deserved the win on the day. I was extremely frustrated. It's been nice to have 24 hours, 48 hours to calm down. Sorry I can't be there with you guys. I'm sure Cal will smash it. And have a good day, Gooners.
Yeah, what George said there, I completely agree with, to be honest. It just, no creativity. I think the lack of Eze in this game, or no Eze, should I say, is really what cost us today. And also one other player as well. I don't like to throw players under the bus, but Kepa. I'm going to be honest, I got sucked into the media hype about, Kepa should start the game, I got sucked into it. I thought, he's got us all the way there. He should start. But obviously, it wasn't to be. He made the mistake really bad mistake for the first goal, which I think Raya does not make that mistake. And who knows? I know we didn't play well, but if Raya gets that, it could be a completely different game. That's how football works. But Kepa, man, it's just shocking. And honestly, I don't want to see him play for Arsenal again. It's harsh, I know. But I think people are forgetting. He did get us to this final. He saved the penalty against Crystal Palace. Without him, we wouldn't actually be in this position. But I do think Raya needed to play that final. I'm hoping Arteta has learned from this and in the future not to play second choice keepers no matter how many games they play in the competition. But yeah, I think Raya, it's not even down to the mistake that Kepa made as well. It's also the build-up play. We couldn't produce anything from the back into the midfield and up to the front. We were just going long to Havertz, and then no one would he'd get the flick on, and then no one would get the second ball. I mean, credit to Man City, that block of four that they had, I think it was Haaland, Doku, Semenyo, and Cherki just sat in a block of four, and we could not get through it at all. And I think Raya is the one that, he's a bit more adventurous, more accurate with his passes, more pings it. Kepa's balls are very long, high, dipping, which I think, didn't help us at all, to be honest. Yeah, I think Raya needs to play every single game for the rest of the season, to be honest. That's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think of that. Am I being too harsh on Kepa? I do think the reaction is a little bit harsh. I feel bad for him, and I always feel for second choice keepers when they come in because, they're probably the players in the squad that play the least, and they have the biggest expectation for. What I mean by that is when they make a mistake, it's extremely highlighted. I mean, what we should have learned, man. Like Kinski, we saw what happened to Kinski for Spurs against Atletico Madrid. We saw what happened for Jorgensen for Chelsea in the Champions League against PSG. There's just something about second choice keepers at the moment that there's like a curse or something, man. But yeah, Raya from now on, I mean, look, we learn from it. We move on. We learn from it. Pack it in. Raya from now on. Class. Anyway, just as the game as a whole, yeah, we could not break City down at all. Very, very, very low possession. Only 37% possession. Man City absolutely dominated the ball. We didn't look like we even pressed them or even tried to build anything up. I can't even remember one passage of play. I remember there was one on the right-hand side where Ben White cut into Zubimendi, then out to Sako Madueke at the time, and then we misplaced the pass and it was over. Like, there was absolutely no creativity. No one was brave enough to get the ball. When it's the block of four like this, right? I'm going to try and do it like this. The block of four that they had of like, what was it? Semenyo, Haaland, Cherki, Doku, whatever. It was the block of four. Rice and Zubimendi were staying behind the players here. They need to come in here and receive the ball in the half turn and make things happen. It's so ridiculous how it was just being passed between Gabriel to Saliba to Kepa to Ben White back to Saliba to Gabriel over to Hincapié. It was just very square. Like no one was adventurous or brave enough to make the forward pass. I've heard a lot of people talk about how Zubimendi has lost confidence, and I feel like I can see that. Like normally when you think of a Spanish midfielder, they're dropping deep, receiving the ball in the half turn, confident on the half turn, and they're spraying balls out and they're beating the lines. But we didn't have any of that, man. Like Rice isn't really that sort of player that's going to, produce line-breaking passes. He's a workhorse. I know not his best game, obviously, but you could see he was at least running, man. He was running. But Zubimendi, I mean, I don't know if that's entirely his fault, though. Should Havertz play that role? Because, if Odegaard's in the 10 there, Odegaard will drop all the way right next to Kepa if he needs to receive that ball. And I think that's what we're missing the most. We're missing Odegaard crazily. I know there's a bit of I hate this agenda against Odegaard that he's not good enough for this club. He is. We've seen him. He is a world-class player on his day. It's ridiculous that people don't agree with that. Obviously, I know the last 2 seasons, yep, he's not been world-class. But when he's on his game, he is on his game. And I think his injury has probably been one of the most underrated disadvantages of this season that we've had. Not having Odegaard, a fully fit Odegaard for the season, has cost us in games. And it's cost us in this game as well, because I genuinely think if we had Odegaard on the field, we would have created a few more chances, or we would have had more possession and more pressure on Manchester City. Man City, you can get at Man City this season. We saw Nottingham Forest and West Ham pick up draws. Obviously, no disrespect to them, but they're lower teams in the Premier League. If they can get draws, we're first. We can win against Man City. We beat them 5-1 last season. We did scrape a draw against them, but it's there. We can get the draw, They had to park the bus against us. Yeah, obviously, as you can see, I'm a bit emotional about it, but I'm glad I'm actually recording this. What is it, 2 days after? Because if I recorded this on the day, oh my days, I was rattled. It's probably the most rattled I've been after an Arsenal game, to be honest. Um, yeah, but yeah, we've had some time to digest it. Me and George both. I'm sorry that this episode's coming out late. We couldn't quite find a time when we are both free to record it. Busy doing other stuff in personal life, work lives, that sort of thing. But we're here getting the content out. Better late than never. International break is coming. We're going to try and do an episode, bring up the vibes a bit, maybe do some mini games, stuff like that. But yeah, let's just get more into the game. It wasn't a sort of game where we had zero chances. There was still stuff that we did where we could have killed the game off. That Trafford triple save in the first half, it was class, to be honest. I mean, the difference between Trafford and Kepa as a second choice keeper was really showing. And I know people made the argument that like, oh yeah, Kepa should play because Trafford played, but like, bun that off, mate. Like, we should have played Raya, you know. And I'm not going to sit here and say I told you so because I picked Kepa in my starting 11. I picked him because he got us to this point. I've learned from that now. If I can learn from that, Arteta can. You know what I mean? But I think the difference between Trafford and Kepa was Trafford was brought in to be the number one keeper. Young English prospect. He's a class keeper. I didn't know much about him before this game, to be honest. Obviously, I've heard his name and being Thogden's brother or whatever that bullshit was. But yeah, um, he was brought in to be number one, and then I think that's the difference, really. Kepa was always going to be a backup, always. It was just unlucky that Trafford, got replaced by Donnarumma. Like Donnarumma all of a sudden just became available, and they snapped him up instead of Man United getting him. So, yeah, I think that's the difference between them. Besides that, though, Havertz did miss that triple chance right at the start. I think if that goes in, oh my days, it's a completely different game. But yeah, that's why you got to take your chances, especially against Manchester City that don't give you much, especially in this game. If we scored that, who knows what could have happened. But yeah, the first half was super, super cagey. I think everything that we did wrong and did right, Man City also did wrong and right. It's always a bit of a chess game between us two. Um, but the second half is where we saw them really turn it up a notch, and I think that's where the final experience comes in. Bernardo Silva looked up for it. Haaland, he's always goes missing in finals, but Cherky, I think didn't have a good game. Him doing the juggling is just embarrassing, to be honest. Like, obviously, if an Arsenal player did that, I'd be loving it. Don't get me wrong, but that's just the bias right there. But like, he's doing that in the 65th minute or whatever. Like, Pep wasn't happy as well. Like, he is a player that, he's been known to have like sort of attitude problems, but yeah, I don't think he's one of their best players. So I think if anyone else did the juggling like Bernardo Silva did, I'm like, fair enough. You've actually had a good game. But Shirky for me was probably one of the most poor players in that Man City team, to be honest. Maybe that's a biased lens. I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, the first goal goes in. Let's talk about that. Yeah. So the cross comes in. Kepa straight through his hands, and O'Reilly just nods it in. Yeah, look, Raya simply does not make that mistake. I don't want to repeat myself, but yeah, this like, what can we actually do? Like, you know what I mean? And in a way, I know people are saying, "Oh, why did Arteta pick Kepa? Why did Arteta pick Kepa?" But Arteta didn't expect him to not be able to catch a ball. Like, come on, let's be real about that. That is purely Kepa's fault. You know what I mean? Obviously, Raya would probably catch that ball better and probably would claim it. But I mean, you're not expecting. I mean, this guy played in the Premier League. What was it for Bournemouth last season? Premier League proven keeper. You're not expecting him to just drop a ball through his hands. Like, come on, let's be real for a sec. But yeah, frustrating. The ball goes in. O'Reilly scores. He was probably obviously man of the match. He scored again. But yeah, does he start for England though? I don't know. Maybe George would have more thoughts on that. I can ask him in the next episode. But he does look like a really good player. So credit to him. Obviously, the second goal was, there's pretty much the same thing. Obviously, not the Kepa mistake, but back post to O'Reilly and makes it 2-0. But the thing that was most frustrating was when we went 1-0 down, I thought like it's actually a bit of a wake-up call. It might be good for us because we can bring on the subs that, I don't know why, I think subs needed to come on at halftime. Obviously, Calafiori, I think, needed to come on with Hincapié on that yellow. He didn't look like the same player after getting that yellow card. But yeah, we did see some subs. Who came on? I'm pretty sure it was Madueke. Um, yeah, Madueke and Calafiori came on, and we looked a little bit better. Madueke looked more lively than Saka. Yeah, Saka was poor today, and he has been for the last few weeks. We don't like to admit it. We don't like to say it. He's the star boy, came through the academy, but he needs to step up his game, especially in the business end of the season. He is a world-class player on his day. I don't want to hear any arguments about that. For me, he's a world-class player. I'm just hoping he can turn up. I think for the World Cup, he will he will really prove himself again. But I just hope that that comes a bit earlier. You know what I mean? He always seems to step up for England at tournaments, but we need him in the business end here, to really get over the line. That's the most important thing. Just on the subs again, though, it was just so unfortunate that while we were making and preparing the subs after the first goal, the second goal went in. And that kind of just killed the game and the tactics, to be honest. I think Arteta was kind of a bit lost at that point, a bit out of his depth, to be honest. So that's just why I'm really hoping that this can just be a learning experience for him. You know, I said it early in the pod, but at least it is the Carabao Cup. Out of the four trophies, this is the least important one. Obviously, as an Arsenal fan, we are not entitled to pick and choose what trophies we want since we haven't won in a long time. But I think Arteta will learn from this. The Kepa mistake, how to break down that City block, using I know he didn't have him at his disposal, but using Odegaard or Eze or a creative player that's going to drop in and be brave to take on those passes and breaking the lines. Because we didn't see that from Saliba, Gabriel, Benoit, or Hincapié, or Declan Rice, or Zubimendi, or even Havertz. I didn't even see Havertz drop in deep once to receive the ball. It was just a frustrating performance all round. But yeah, after the subs came on, we did have a few chances. Obviously, Martinelli came on for Trossard, who I thought Trossard had a really quiet game. And Gabriel Jesus came on as well. At that point, I thought he left it a little bit too late, to be honest. I think, bring on Dowman. Like, you throw in the kitchen sink at it, bring on a wild card. I think Dowman could have done something. Probably nothing. I mean, we were completely dominated, but you never know. But in fairness, Gabriel Jesus did hit the crossbar near the end. I haven't seen many people talk about that, to be honest. All I've been seeing is people saying that he did not play well. He hit the bar, like there's chances there. I think Calafiori did really well. It's probably our only player that looked like he was actually trying alongside probably Saliba. But yeah, Calafiori hit the post as well, or Trossard did it, flicked off Trossard. If that goes in, one goal down when we're really going for it, we could scrape something and bring it to extra time, but it just wasn't to be. Yeah, Calafiori hit the post, Jesus hit the bar. That was pretty much it, to be honest. That was it at the end of the day. A 2-0 loss in the end. Man City win the Carabao Cup final. Look, I give respect to the Man City team. They're a great team. Respect to them. I do not respect their club, though, unfortunately. They've just got too much dodgy financial stuff going on. 115 charges. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? How they're just seemingly getting away with it. I know they're still going through all the court documents and stuff. But we're seeing with Chelsea, they got what was it? They got a ban and a fine, 10 million fine. Like, I just have a feeling City's gonna be let off for it. It is unfortunate. I feel bad for the team. Man City, they've won all these trophies and stuff like that, but they're never ever being ever respected as a team that's going to have history and stuff. If you look at the likes of Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, you respect these clubs. You know what I mean? Like, they've won trophies, they have history, they have club legends, and including us as well. But yeah, I feel bad for that. Feel bad for their players. To be honest, I think this is just me trying to cope with it. To be honest, but yeah, all we can do now is just bounce back. Really, that's all we can literally do. Like, we can't do anything else. I'm trying to think of any other positives from the game, but to be honest, I don't think there was any. I think, yeah, I can't think of any, to be honest. I think Gyökeres is not great as well. He ran the channel a few times in the first 15 minutes, looked okay, and then we just didn't give him any service. I think that's the problem. Like, we don't play to Gyökeres' strengths at all, and especially in that game. I think you know what? Another positive was I think Saliba and Gabriel handled Haaland really well. Haaland was quiet the whole game, and it forced Man City to look for other options. And I think that's the difference. They are used to playing in finals. They turned up. O'Reilly was the man on the day. If your left back can step up and score goals, then you take that. If Haaland's not going to perform, then you need other players to perform. I also think our set pieces were poor as well. In a game like that where we're being completely dominated, doesn't look like we're going to score any chances as well. That first corner we had, it couldn't even beat the first man. Like, we need the corners in times like this. This is where we need it. It's that extra oomph that we have compared to other teams. We've been known this season to score a lot of set pieces, but today we didn't show that at all. It was poor. And I don't even think it was City defending our corners well. I think it was just the actual deliveries weren't great. I know we didn't have many corners. I think it was only maybe like 3 or 4. But when we did have them, they were poor deliveries and we couldn't get anything out of it really. But yeah, that's pretty much what the game was. In the end, City dominated. They deserved the win, of course. 2-0 loss. We bounced back. We've still got the FA Cup. We've still got the Premier League, which I'm very confident about. And we've still got the Champions League as well. The quadruple dream is over, unfortunately. There's a reason why it's never been done before. These are the levels you need to be at to win the quadruple. It's insane to think that PSG did it last year. Obviously, they've got a much easier league in Ligue 1. But yeah, that's the levels and that's the difference. And Man City really showed the class today. I think Arteta got it all wrong. I think Pep Guardiola got it all right. It's the student and the teacher. But yeah, I want to give a shout out to George and anyone else in Australia that watched the game at 3:30 a.m. But what I'm find really ridiculous is City fans getting up, watching the last 15 minutes, and then posting the result and bragging about the result. Like, you know who you are because you said you're going to watch the episode. Jamal, I'm calling you out right now. You didn't even watch the game. You can't celebrate it. That's my rule. If you didn't watch the game, you are not allowed to celebrate it. We all have work. We all have stuff that we need to do. Got to get up for the game, man. Come on. Next game. Come on. Anyway, bit of fun and all that. Bit of banter. But yeah, disappointing day. And we look ahead now to, let's just have a little breakdown of the fixtures that we got coming up because it's not all doom and gloom. Obviously, we don't play our next Premier League game to the 11th of April, which is a long time. I mean, in the context of the league, especially at this stage where it seems like games are coming thick and fast. Yeah, a 9:30 p.m. kickoff, which is that's just beautiful to see at home against Bournemouth. I'm expecting a win there. Bournemouth are a decent team, but I'm expecting us at home to get the result there. But straight after the break, we've got Southampton away in the FA Cup quarterfinals. That's on Easter Sunday, actually, 5 a.m. kickoff. So yeah, it'll be a great day. Wake up for the Arsenal game, hopefully get a win, and then enjoy Easter. Hope you guys all enjoy Easter as well if you celebrate that. And then a few days after that, we've got on the Wednesday, 5 a.m. same time, 8th of April, Sporting in the quarterfinal of the Champions League. So, it's an exciting time. In the space of 6 days, 6 or 7 days, we have an FA Cup quarterfinal, a Champions League quarterfinal, and then a big game in the Premier League. And I know on paper it doesn't look like a big game, but every game in the Premier League is a cup final for me. Hopefully, we don't treat it like the Carabao Cup final because we will choke this league. But yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people in the media say that Arsenal were going to go on to choke the league now. But come on, let's be real. Like, I'm confident. I think the boys will bounce back, especially after 2 games before. I think that'll help us quite well. Yeah, I'm confident for that. In other news, injury news, Odegaard is coming back to full fitness soon. I think he should be back for the Southampton game or maybe the Sporting game or the Bournemouth, in and around that area, hopefully. But the news that dropped today overnight, Eze is going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks with a calf injury. Why now? Why now at this point of the season? It's so disappointing. He is a player that you need in these moments where we can't get across the line. I also think if we had Eze in the game against Man City, I think there would have been I think Eze would have had a couple chances. You never know what he can do. Shoot outside the box, it just goes in. It changes the whole landscape of the game. But yeah, we didn't obviously have him. But 4 to 6 weeks out, especially at this point of the season, it's looking like with that time frame, he might just be ready in time for the Man City away game. If not, he'll be back for Newcastle at home. And then we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in the Premier League after that. So at most, he might miss 2 or 3 Premier League games, which if Odegaard is playing in that, I'm still confident. But it does suck, to be missing Eze. Um, yeah, we just got to find other solutions. I don't, maybe Havertz is the solution. Maybe Dalman can be the solution. Do you start him in the run-in for the Premier League title? I don't know. It's a massive call to make. But yeah, these are the decisions that Arteta has to make. Hopefully, he gets them more correct than the Carabao Cup final. I think he can learn a lot from that. I think that's the main thing to take away, to be honest. Out of anything to take away from this game, it's how to be better in those finals, how to set up better, to give us the best possible chance of winning. Play your best team. You know, find solutions as the game goes on. No one was dropping into those half spaces in between that block of four that City had. Get someone on the pitch that's going to do that. Even if they mess up the chance, it's better that they're in those positions because it could work. Anyway, I think that's enough from me. To be honest, we'll be back in maybe we'll be back probably midweek next week in about a week's time. We'll do a fun little episode. We'll preview the Southampton game. We'll do some mini games as well. Try and get the vibes up for the rest of the season. But yeah, Arsenal fans, don't knock yourselves too hard. Don't lose confidence. Don't lose hope. We will win trophies this season. I'm confident about that. It will happen. Trust the process. I know we've heard that for so long now, but it feels like it's finally coming, And maybe that loss is the wake-up call that we needed. But yeah, that's all I have to say today. Thanks, George, for the video as well, on his thoughts on the game. We will be back. We will be stronger. And try and have a good day, Gooners, okay? I'll catch you in the next episode.